All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another very special episode of Luttie's Look Back. My name is Nick Luttrell. If you're used to watching this show, you probably can see I'm in a little bit of a different location. It's the first ever Luttie's Look Back on site. I'm also under a tent here at Baum-Walker Stadium, as it looks like it could rain on me at any moment. It was raining previously. I will give you full transparency here. I'm filming this on Sunday afternoon, about to go watch some softball over at Bogle Park. So first we're going to start with Arkansas baseball because it was a great weekend on the baseball side of things. Then we'll probably go over to Bogle Park later and get you caught up on some softball news for the Razorbacks. But to start with baseball, right here behind me at Baum-Walker Stadium, the Hogs got it done. A series win over the defending national champs Tennessee, a 10-7 loss on Thursday. A little bit frustrating as you would have imagined, and then Friday an 8-6 win, Thursday an 8-4 win against the Volunteers. We'll start how we always do with my three big things. You see it here. The first one, offensive production was high level. Second, Will McIntyre. How about the senior? He's been here 6 years, and he pitched one of his best games in an Arkansas uniform when the Razorbacks needed him the most. He pitched lights out. And my third point of my three big things, once again, this is a top 8 team. There's no doubt about it. And I'll get to all three of those points later. I want to start with my first point, which is offensive production was high level. And that starts with Logan Maxwell, a transfer from TCU that has not struggled necessarily offensively this season, but struggled as far as getting healthy and staying healthy. He's been dealing with that nagging hamstring injury throughout the course of this season, and seems like he's pretty close to 100%. If he's not, then that's pretty crazy how well he's playing right now for this Arkansas team that offensively had a really good weekend. He had 7 hits on 11 at-bats. That's a .636 batting average on the weekend for Maxwell. So really special what he was able to do. The best performer offensively for Arkansas this weekend. He didn't have, he may have had a home run or 2, but he didn't have a ton of runs driven in, like a Ryder Helfrich who had 5 RBIs, including obviously that grand slam. 5 RBIs alone on Saturday, which included that grand slam for the Hogs on Saturday. But Logan Maxwell was really good. Ryder Helfrich continued to be good. He just keeps moving up and up in that lineup. The offensive production was really good. Also, Vahiva Aloy. He was better, which the thing I was talking about in, I think, last week's episode, the series loss to LSU, it was, all right, Arkansas's playing okay right now, but it'd be nice if Vahiva Aloy would play like the SEC Player of the Year, like the player that we know he is. And he just didn't perform to that potential the past 3 to 5 games heading into this weekend. And even this weekend wasn't perfect, but he was hitting the ball a lot better. He was hitting the ball hard. And he finally got to a point where he was playing good baseball for this Arkansas team. So Ryder Helfrich, Logan Maxwell, Vahiva Aloy, Brent Iredale was pretty good as well. Defensively had a really good play on Saturday's game. That was awesome. Probably had 3 to 4 stolen bases. I didn't write down the exact number there, but a lot of good things that you want to see offensively for this Hog team, especially as they head into the postseason, as they wrapped up regular season play. They took advantage of that on Saturday as far as offensive opportunities, stealing bases. Tennessee tried to slow the game down. They tried to do their cute little, all right, we're going to throw it to first, or we're going to change my batting helmet, because there was just so many little things like that I try to say nice things about Tennessee because I'm a nice person, but yeah, if you watch the game, you know. I'm not gonna, Tennessee is just, they're just there, all right? I'm not going to say too many mean things about that one. But that was my first big thing. Offensive production, it was high level. The second big thing is Will McIntyre. He pitched lights out. Again, when Arkansas needed him the most, and maybe it's not the most they might need him is coming up in a few weeks, maybe a super regional or down the line. If he can continue pitching like this, look out. His stat line from the weekend and just from Saturday's game, 3 2/3 innings pitched, 0 hits, a no-hitter, 0 runs, of course, struck out 4, and didn't walk a single batter. You're going to need guys like him to do that to win it all. And this Arkansas team obviously has their mind set on winning a national championship. And why not? Because they're a really good team. They're a team that is good enough to win the national championship. And when Will McIntyre is pitching like that, it gives you another weapon in an already really loaded and deep bullpen. It gives you another weapon to go out there and compete and be one of the top teams in college baseball. So I know that's just one player, but it's also just good to see that Will McIntyre is pitching good, because he's a guy he's been through a lot, it feels like. He's been here 6 years now. This was his third senior day he had this past weekend, and he deserves, a lot of the credit and hype that he's getting right now, because there's just been times this season where he hasn't been that guy. He's pitched about half the innings this year that he pitched last year. And not many people expected that. People expected he might be the go-to reliever when he announced he was coming back for this season. And that just hasn't been the case. He hasn't performed to what people thought he was going to be. And thankfully, Arkansas's bullpen is deep enough. They haven't really missed him that much. But now you got another guy who's also pitching really good, and Will McIntyre, and that's going to make this team really good. So once again, he's been through a lot. He's an old man. He's 6 years as a Razorback. And here's what head coach Dave Van Horn had to say about him after the game on Saturday.
A lot of hard work. And what I mean by that is, he hadn't pitched for a while, but he just kept working, probably get more frustrated. I want to pitch. And then when he got on the mound, he just let it go. And he had to pitch fearless, and he did. And he just went at him. And, it was just great to see, because we didn't know if he was going to be able to go one inning or three or a couple of hitters. And, you always got to have plan B, and we didn't have to use anything, which was great.
All right, once again, love to see Will McIntyre pitching well for this Hogs. It makes them a really dangerous team. The third point of my three big things, once again, this is a top 8 team. And this was my third point of my big three in last week's show. I was trying to more prove a point as to, hey, Arkansas is still a top 8 national seed. When I look at it after this weekend series, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, except I'm saying it with a little bit more confidence, and there's some more validity behind it after a series win against Tennessee. And yes, I know it was at home, and you're supposed to win all your games at home, but a series win at home is really good. And again, I know if you've been following college baseball a lot this season, Tennessee, defending national champs, they have the potential to do it again this season, but they haven't been the Tennessee of the past few years, and that's definitely shown. I think they lost maybe 5 or 6 straight SEC series to close out the regular season. After starting really hot, they have fallen off a lot. And one thing that I want to give credit to Arkansas that shows me that this is a top 8 team, that this is a national championship contender team, is that they also went through that valley that a lot of the other SEC teams went through or are going through. If you look at it with Tennessee, they start out good, they hit their valley, and they kind of have stayed down. They're kind of mediocre, at least for their standards. Let's see, Texas. Texas started out really good. They've fallen off the last few weeks. Now they're still a top 8 national seed, but we saw it when they came to play here a few weeks ago. Arkansas swept them. They're not the team that is the number 1 team in the country, in my opinion. That was not the number 1 team in the country. Those are 2 examples. I guess some others, Vanderbilt started off bad, and now they're kind of peaking at the right time. What Arkansas, and again, what gives me confidence, they start out really well, and then they hit their valley, just like a lot of teams have or are currently having or previously had. They hit their valley, but then they popped right back up. They responded in a really big way, and it was that Texas series. It was that Texas series a few weeks ago that got them back to their winning ways. And I think that says something about a team when you hit that valley and you come back on top, and you're on top of the mountain. And I'm not saying they're the number 1 team in the country. All I'm saying is they're a top 8 national seed. And for maybe not super close or pay attention a ton to baseball or to softball, a top 8 national seed does a lot for you. What essentially means is they'll be here all the way up until Omaha, until the College World Series in postseason play. So this upcoming week, we've got SEC tournament, which we'll talk about in a second. After that, NCAA tournament starts. You got regionals. Arkansas will host a regional because they for sure are a top 16 seed. That's there's no debating that. There's probably a little bit of debate, are they a top 8 seed? Top 16 seed hosts a regional. Top 8 seed, if Arkansas were to win their regional, they would also host a super regional. If they win their super regional and their top 8 seed, if they make it to their super regional, their top 8 seed, they'll host it here at Baum-Walker Stadium. So that's big. And they're the best team in the country. I think they have the most wins in the country at home this season. So you like that. You have a lot of confidence of this team going forward, especially playing at Baum-Walker Stadium. And they also play in the SEC. Let's not forget they play in the SEC. and they have 20 wins in the SEC. And it might be one of the best. It is the best conference this year, and it might be the best the conference has ever been when you have Texas this season and Oklahoma, who has been surprisingly really good. And the SEC should have 5, 6, 7 of the 8 national seeds. You throw in an ACC team like Florida State in there as well. But this team is battle-tested, you know? They've played tough competition, so that gives me confidence going forward. And that was the thing when Dave Van Horn was asked, you know, do you feel like you've earned the right to host all the way until College World Series? He said, oh, yeah. He gave a lot of confidence. And then he was asked, why are you so confident? And he said, 20 wins in the SEC. Enough said. He didn't say enough said, but I'm saying enough said because that's all he said. 20 wins in the SEC, that will do it. All right, those are my 3 big things from the weekend that it was for Arkansas baseball against Tennessee. Now let's look at the SEC tournament here. Arkansas going to be the 2 seed coming up here in a few days in the SEC tournament. It will be, let's be honest, the SEC tournament, it doesn't matter. It's a plain over passing game. It doesn't matter. It's never really mattered, let's be honest. It's never really mattered. Now, does that mean I would not be excited when Arkansas is playing on Friday and having a chance to improve their national seed to go from a top, number 7 to number 5? Yes, I'll be into that game, and I'll be excited to watch Arkansas play. But if they lose, it's not the biggest deal in the world. They're still a top 8 national seed. So it's just always weird with the SEC baseball tournament. As you see the bracket here, Arkansas, the 2 seed, they'll automatically start in the quarterfinals, which is really nice for them. They secured a top 8 seed when they won, a top 4 seed when they won on Friday's game against Tennessee. So they'll face Ole Miss, Florida, South Carolina. We'll have to see this upcoming week. I think TV times and everything is still to be determined. So assuming they can win one of those games, obviously they'll probably play LSU. And you never know. Like, look, they got to win 3 games to win the SEC tournament championship. I think that's possible for this team. And yes, it would be really cool, and I'd love to see it happen. But if it doesn't happen, that doesn't change a lot, right? Because they're going to be playing tough competition. If they lose one game, they lose one game. I'd imagine they may not even pitch their Zach Root in that first game. They might hold him off to the next game because it's just not a big deal. So biggest thing is just resting, getting the team ready for the actual games that are important, and that's the NCAA tournament, which starts next week. So that is some college baseball talk for the Razorbacks. Now let's check in on some softball over at Bogle Park. And the good Razorback weekend continued here at Bogle Park. Arkansas softball sweeping their regional and advancing to the super regional. What a weekend for Arkansas softball, taking down St. Louis and then Oklahoma State in back-to-back games. St. Louis, we talked about this on last week's show. That was going to be the easy game for Arkansas against the Billikens. They eased past him, 10-0 in 5 innings, easy. The next day, a much more challenging opponent, and that was Oklahoma State, which Arkansas had to beat twice. This first game on Saturday, they won 6-5, but they were down, I think, 5-2, 2 outs away from losing the game and going to the loser side of the bracket and falling out of their own regional like they have the past 2 seasons. But this team just has some resilience in them, and they came back in the bottom of the 7th, maybe the top of the 7th. I think it was the bottom of the 7th to take down or to tie the game, and then they won it in the 8th inning to take down the Cowgirls. So that was Saturday. Then they turned around Sunday and took down Oklahoma State again 12-0. That's the game that just wrapped up behind me. Again, full transparency. You're watching this on Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday of this upcoming week. I'm filming this on a Sunday just to get it out there, full transparency. I'm a little out of order in how I'm going to film this. We're going to talk a little bit about college baseball as far as A-State, UCA, UAPB, and Little Rock coming up a little bit later in the show, stuff that I actually filmed earlier. But softball just finished up, so I figured I might sit here and talk to you guys about it for a little bit. But, man, this team has some resilience. They came back and won that game on Saturday, and then tonight dominated from the get-go and taking down a Cowgirls team that has made it to the Women's College World Series 5 years in a row, and a team that's pretty good, albeit they didn't really show it in this last game, but they certainly showed it in the game on Saturday. And so before we hear from head coach Courtney Deifel and what she had to say about the game, I want to go back. If you guys watched last week, you heard my 3 keys to a win. How do they win their regional and advance to the super regional? I gave you my thoughts on it. So let's go back and take a look at them and see how they did on my 3 keys to a win. The first one that I said was Robin Herron, that she has to be the ace that she is. And she was, for the most part, especially in tonight's game, the game that just ended behind me an hour or two ago. Complete game, and she only gave up 3 hits. It was one of her better performances of the season. We've seen a really good Robin Herron at times this season, other times not as much. When Arkansas needed it, and I guess the Bats did really well tonight, so they didn't necessarily need this Robin Herron as much as if it was a tight, really close game. But still, in a game in which, they've lost here back-to-back seasons. They've lost in this spot in the regional, and they didn't do that. And that's thanks to, obviously, the hitting because they put up 12 runs, but Robin Herron stepping up and just shutting down Oklahoma State. She had a no-hitter going through 4 innings, I think, and Arkansas was up 6-0 at that point. So my key was Robin Herron being the ace she is. I'd say pretty good on that. Again, tonight's game was really good. Saturday's against Oklahoma State, not as good. 4 innings pitched. She gave up 5 earned runs. Thankfully, her offense came alive in the 7th inning to come back and kind of save her. So again, there's kind of 2 different Robin Herrons we're seeing, again, against a really good Oklahoma State team. But the one we saw tonight was hopefully the one that we'll continue seeing going forward, because Arkansas can be a national championship contender if Robin Herron pitched the way she pitched today with the command that she had today. So really impressive out of Robin Herron. The second key that I said was defensively, they got to keep it up. It's one of the top defenses in the country. Fielding percentage, number 2 or number 3 or number 1 probably now in the country. 0 errors on the weekend, which is really impressive to do. Because once you get to the postseason, you're not just playing, like I know I gave a little joke to St. Louis, but every team that's in the regional deserves to be there, deserves to be in the postseason, St. Louis included. They never got to play Indiana, but Indiana included because they're a really good, hot offensive team. Arkansas never had to face them, but Oklahoma State is a team that they did have to face, and 0 errors to the 3 games that they played, especially a great play from Carly Davison. If you watched last night's broadcast or if you were watching any of this game on ESPN+, Carly Davison made an incredible play at second base. She also had a double, a couple RBIs, and then a big-time home run to close it for the Razorbacks and kind of say, hey, we're winning this thing. That was when they went up 12-0, I'm pretty sure. So defensively, did they keep it up? Absolutely. That was my key for them winning, and they absolutely did that. My third thing that I said key to win was Bree Ellis. Yes, she's really good, but Reagan Johnson to have a really good game is a really good series as well. And honestly, it wasn't amazing. She had 4 hits out of the weekend, so nothing amazing there. But thankfully, they had other players step up, which was really impressive because Arkansas, they're obviously very good this season, and Bree Ellis has made them go from being a really good team to national championship contending team. But this weekend, honestly, Bree Ellis didn't have an amazing, sensational game. I don't even think she had a home run. She barely got pitched to because she's that good. So she affected the game. She got walked and hit by a pitch, and plenty of those things happened. But so many other players stepped up, and I think what Arkansas showed this weekend is that it's not Bree Ellis and everybody else on Arkansas. Sure, Bree Ellis might be the star that everyone looks at, but there are multiple other players on this Arkansas team that are really good. And a couple of them, just to shout them out, Ella McDowell, the freshman third baseman, continues to make great plays defensively and some great clutch hits for the Razorbacks. Courtney Day, the catcher is she the catcher? I'm kind of having a brain fart here. Double check my math here. Courtney Day, Kennedy Miller is the catcher, excuse me. Courtney Day is a designated player, that's right. Courtney Day had a really good weekend. Kennedy Miller also pretty good. Italia Rio was really good, and I'll get to her later. And once again, Bree Ellis got walked 1,000 times, it felt like, and that's what it is when Arkansas plays teams now. They're going to get Bree Ellis walked, and she's going to get on base, and she's going to score a lot of runs because she's on base, and Arkansas's offense is that good to get her home. So, really impressive Arkansas softball did. Now, we have my Lutties legend of the week. Now, I saved it for this moment, and I'm very glad I did, because Arkansas's shortstop, Italia Rio, is definitely deserving of my Lutties legend of the week. She went 9 for 10 this weekend. Now, normally when I look at the stats and I say, okay, who was a good player that performed for each team this weekend, I look at what was your batting percentage. That's the big batting average. That's the biggest thing that I look at. Italia Rio had a 900 batting average. She had 9 hits, 10 at-bats, probably got walked a time or two as well, 3 RBIs, and she had a couple really good plays on defense for this Arkansas team. So she is more than worthy of my Luttie's Legend of the Week. So congratulations to her. Yeah, she's not here. I'm just kidding. I wish I could give her like an award. I'm not going to do that. Everyone's long gone. It's very late right now. But Italia Rio, deserving on my Luttie's Legend of the Week. And now, once again, as I talked about, this team is built differently. Different than years in the past. I can say that and believe that now that they've got out of their own regional and made it to the super regional. I can say that now. I think Coach Deifel has seen that for a while. And here's what she had to say after the game about the confidence she has in her team and how they're just different this season. They're different and they're good enough to get over that hump, and I think good enough to make it to the Women's College World Series.
I don't think that it would take anybody long when you walk into Bogle or anywhere when you get the opportunity to see this team and just see that they're different. They're different in how they approach everything. They're different in their competitive energy, just the competitive connection they have with each other, and just their intentionality with what they do. They play with a ton of passion. They just do the little things right, and they've never flinched. So even when things don't necessarily go our way, they don't flinch. They look at it as an opportunity to get better and to be stronger together. But this team wants to be coached. This team wants to be challenged. This team wants the moment, and then they have belief because we can coach them hard. They're prepared for anything that comes their way, and they have an unwavering belief in themselves and each other. And I think that's the thing where we could turn the page from teams in the past. This team is not teams in the past. This team is made up of, I think we have half newcomers, half returners, and they're just so intentional with everything they do every day, and they commit to it every day. So they've been, I say this all the time, they've been an absolute joy to coach, just an absolute joy.
All right, so great to hear from Coach Courtney Deifel as always. She's always a pleasure to be able to talk to. I got to ask her a question today, so that was pretty cool experience for me. Here's what Arkansas has up next. It's the Super Regionals. Thankfully, they got it back at Bogle Park, which is obviously a big home field advantage with these fans. These fans stuck it out today in the rain. In the rain. It rained for 4 hours, and then Arkansas finally got the chance to play. They stuck it out, and it'll be a big home field advantage. They'll face off against a pretty familiar foe and a relatively big upset. I told you guys when we talked about it last week, it's probably going to be Ole Miss or Arizona, and it came down to both of them. It came down to a close final game between Ole Miss and Arizona, with the Rebels coming out on top. So it'll be an SEC matchup. If you remember, Arkansas played Ole Miss to start out the SEC season. They lost to them. They started out SEC play 1-5, if you remember. So I think Arkansas will have revenge on their mind and be ready to face off against a really good Rebels team. Obviously, if Arkansas wins, they got two more wins, I should say. If they win 2 more, they're on the Women's College World Series. All right, let's go back to the baseball world and look at some other Arkansas baseball scores. Not the Razorbacks, but some other notable teams from around our area. Arkansas State, Little Rock, and UCA, and UAPB from this past weekend. Let's start with the Red Wolves. Beat Louisiana Lafayette 2-1, getting the series win. They dominated the first 2 games, a 3-0 win, a 13-3, I think a run rule win over the Raging Cajuns. And then they kind of let them, put up 7 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning in Game 3. Ended up losing that game, but no doubt a series win. And so they just like all the other teams that we're going to talk about, regular season over with, and now they'll transition to the conference tournament. They're the 8th seed in the Sun Belt tournament starting Tuesday against Georgia Southern at 6:30. Look, this is a team that was picked to finish dead last in the Sun Belt. They finished 8th, which is really impressive. And now what do they have to do? They got to win their conference tournament and rattle off a lot of games. They got to win a lot of games in order to win their conference tournament and make it to the NCAA tournament. So that's a tall task. But no matter what happens in the conference tournament, it's a good season for Mike Silva's team and Arkansas State. So that's A-State. Little Rock, on the other hand, kind of the opposite. Was supposed to be really good this season, didn't end up being quite as good. They were swept in the regular season by SEMO, a decently good team. I think the 4 seed in the OVC tournament, but SEMO destroyed them. They outscored them 43-8 in this past weekend series between SEMO and Little Rock, 43-8. Little Rock only put up 8 runs. SEMO put up 43. That's not too good. But they do hang on because of a couple things working out. Even though they got swept, they'll be the 8 seed in the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. That starts Wednesday at 9 a.m. is when they'll play their first game. But again, this is a team that was picked to finish second in their conference. They finished 8th out of 10. So not as optimistic with Little Rock. But you never know. They could turn things around, and that's a look at Little Rock. UCA also not the best end to their season. They were swept by North Alabama at home. They did qualify before even winning a game to end the regular season. They did qualify for their conference tournament in the Atlantic Sun. They'll be the 4th seed in their division. It's a little complicated when it comes to the A-Sun baseball tournament bracket, so I'm not going to try to attempt to explain that. But I do know that they play Stetson. They play Stetson at Tuesday at 3 o'clock. They finish, if you want to look at the conference as a whole, they finished 8th out of 12. So not ideal. They were picked to finish 6th, so it's supposed to be a little bit better than they were. Didn't end up being so good. It's getting a little darker here as clouds are kind of rolling in, so I'm gonna try to finish it up. UAPB, let's give a credit to them. Let's give a credit to UAPB for finishing the regular season and for having a great season. 20 conference wins. That's their most since 2002. They swept Alabama and A&M to close out the regular season. Eli Grease-Smith was great this weekend, batting .500, 7 for 14, 7 RBIs, only struck out twice. So UAPB, they're the 4 seed now in the SWAC tournament. The 4 seed, you feel pretty good, relatively good about that. If they can, Bethune-Cookman is the number 1 seed in that bracket. If they can get past Bethune-Cookman, you maybe like their chances going forward. Obviously, just like all these other teams, they have to win their conference tournament championship to qualify for the NCAA tournament. There's also high school, in the high school ranks, that's wrap up on college. High school ranks, baseball and softball, we had multiple teams from our area make it to the state championship. We might have a preview on that later in the week. I'm not sure if we'll get around to that, but congrats to all the teams that made it to the state championship. That is this upcoming weekend, so we'll talk a lot about that on next week's episode of Luttie's Look Back. Quickly, some other Hog stuff to get to. In the track and field world, Arkansas won their 5th outdoor SEC team title. Jordan Anthony was phenomenal once again. The football, what used to be a football star, now he's a track star. He is sensational, winning the 100-meter dash. I think it set an Arkansas Razorback record. And you know how good Arkansas track and field is. He set the record. He helped lead Arkansas to a win. That's on the men's side. The women's side, not as good. They finished 4th in the SEC. That's all my notes. It's getting dark here. The rain's probably about to hit a little bit more. That's going to do it for Luttie's Look Back. It won't be same time, same place. It'll be same time, hopefully back in the studio for next week. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your week.